In this video, I'm going to talk about the addition of fractions with the same denominator with words problem. So here the first question. Mom used a 1/10 bottle of oil to cook fish. 7/10 bottle was left. How much oil was there at first? First of all, we need to identify the question. We need to know how much oil was there originally. So let's represent it this way. This much oil left at first. And then let's have a look at what we know. The bottle of oil left is this dark green pot. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pots out of 10. And also, Mom used a 1/10. So 1 pot out of 10, a 1/10. What I can see here is if I add these two things up together, I will get how much oil there was at first. So this is what I'll do. A 1/10, which is this pot, plus 7/10, which is this pot. As we have learned in the last video, what we need to do is add the numerators and keep the denominator the same. So 7 plus 1 is 8, and we keep the denominator as 10. Now, both 8 and 10 are divisible by 2. So we divide both of them by 2 to simplify the fraction. And here we get 4/5 or 4/5 as the answer. Now, here comes the answer statement. There was 4/5 bottle of oil at first. A lot of you have problem writing the answer statement. The answer statement is actually what we do to reply the question. So let's have a look. When you're answering a question, you use the words that we use in the question. So when they ask was there, we use there was. When they ask how much, we answer them with the number and unit. So the unit here is bottle, you see. It appears a lot after the numbers that they've given you. So it's really possible that it's the unit, how you measure the numbers. So you see oil in the question, you have oil in the answer. And at first, so all the words from the answer statement, you can either find it from the answer or the question. Mom used 1 3/5 spoons of oil, 4/5 spoon of sesame oil, and 2 1/5 spoons of soup to cook vegetables. How many spoons of seasoning did she use? Now with 3 parts, that gives you how much seasoning they have. And I want a total of it, so I add all 3 numbers together. 1 3/5 plus 4/5 plus 2 1/5. Now what we need to do is to take out the whole numbers, add them in a bracket, and add the fractions separately. 1 plus 2 gives you 3. And for the fraction part, the numerator is 3 plus 4 plus 1 gives you 8. And the denominator stays the same as 5. As you can see here, 8/5 is not a proper fraction, so we need to change it into a mixed number, which is 1 3/5. Add that to 3, we get in total 4 3/5. And so she used 4 3/5 spoons of seasoning. So you may see that all the words in the answer statement, you can either find it from the answer or the question. How so? Did she use? Did, past tense. So we need to change the word, the verb, use into past tense. So here she used. And how many spoons? So how many spoons? We get the answer and spoon of seasoning in the question of seasoning. in the answer statement. Next question, Carrie had 1 3/4 bowl of soup. Bill had one more bowl of soup than Carrie. How many bowls of soup did both of them have altogether? So we need to find out everything. But do we know how much? How many bowls do Bill have yet? Not really. So we need to write what we have step by step to find the answer. First of all, bowls of soup that Carrie had is 1 3/4. We know that. And Bill had one more bowl. So we need to add 1 to this 1 3/4. And if I want to put them together, we need to add what Carrie had and what Bill had together. So we add them up and get 1 3/4 plus 1 3/4 plus 1. So this part is what Carrie has and this part is what Bill has. And what we need to do is we need to take this and put it in an equation and do this math. First of all, we need to add the whole numbers together in a bracket, and then we take the fractions part out and add them up separately. And 1 plus 1 plus 1 gives you 3, and 3/4 plus 3/4 gives you 3 plus 3 is 6, which is the numerator, and 4 as the denominator. So now you realize that 6 and 4 are both divisible by 2, so we'll simplify that by dividing both of them by 2 and add the two parts up to get 3 and 3/2. As you know, 3/2 is not a proper fraction, so we need to change it into a mixed number, which is 1 1/2. Add that to 3, you get 4 1/2. Answer statement. They had 4 1/2 bowls of soup altogether. So again, let's look at the question. Did both of them have? Both of them, we change it into subject, which is they. Had, did, have. Because of the did, we need to change this into past tense. So they had. How many bowls of soup? That's the answer that we need. So we put the answer and bowls of soup. And last but not least, all together. Next question. After cutting away 5 3/4 meter of piece of string, the string remaining is 1 1/4 longer than that away. How long was the string at first? So we need to find out the total again. But do we know how much string remaining? We don't know yet, but we can find this out by the information they've given us. So let's list them out part by part. Length of the string cut away in meter is 5 3/4. We know it from here. And the remaining string is longer than that by 1 1/4. So we add the two numbers up to get this. The remaining is 5 3/4 plus 1 1/4. So now we can find out how long the string was at first by adding these two numbers together. Here we have the string that's left, and the later part is the string that's got cut away. We know this is the way we find the answer, so we put that in as a row form. First thing to do is we take the whole numbers out and add them up in a bracket. Then we put all the fractions together and add them up separately. The whole number 5 plus 1 plus 5 gives you 11. And the fraction part 3 plus 1 plus 3 gives you 7 as the numerator, and 4 stays the same as the denominator. 7/4 is not a proper fraction, so we need to change it into a mixed number, which gives you 1 3/4. Add that to 11 to give you 12 3/4. Answer statement. The string was 12 3/4 meter long at first. Once again, the string is the subject. Was. How long is the answer with the unit? 12 3/4 meter long at first.